Let's see if we can get another big spin for the fans. Is it going to be a big spin? It's a 3x. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. Didn't quite earn from Nikki though, did it? Didn't quite earn that. Well, I'm risking 7 suited. I said maybe 651 players lick some other animals in Halftime Show and worship around Jack's whiteboard. These are all good ideas. Please continue submitting your Halftime Show ideas onto Twitch chat. Will be very, very appreciated because it is sometimes tougher to keep coming up with original content. So I'm really happy when people have suggestions. Just a lot of frog licking and then a lot of... We're all licking the frog. It'd be good, wouldn't it? It'd be good. Do you have any recommendations in terms of EV pools? I mean, I would recommend an EV deal with Team 601, naturally, of course, cool, would be my #1 recommendation. Please visit the Team 601 website and use the apply button, which has now been fixed by yours truly. I went into the website. They gave me the access codes. I had the red button and they said, Tomo, fix this, and I pressed a few buttons. It now works. You can try an application and it actually gets sent to the right email. So you'll get a response. That's lovely, isn't it? If you're not interested in 601, I think though there's a few knocking about. So there's Hyper School and Steel Phoenix are the 2 ones that I know off the top of my head. I'm forgetting a couple others. There's also other stables out there, of course, as well. So there's lots of good content and good options, and I would definitely encourage anyone to explore the availability of their options here. Interestingly, we see a slightly different sizing. It's cool, but I'm not loving it. Backdoor straight draw, back the flush draw. Although a spot where I think we just get jammed on a lot on the turn with this SPR. Because if we bet again, there's no turn we can actually resurrect these. I'm actually going to fold this. Any deeper we definitely call, but I think this is, yeah. Thank you for the good advice as always, Tom. My pleasure, my pleasure. Why is Party Poker better than Stars or GG? So I'm playing on Party Poker right now. Basically on the suggestion of Team 601, but I'm almost at Diamond Club Elite, which will offer 65% as a base rate for rakeback, and then leaderboards on top of that, and then you also get 10k and then 20k as extra bonuses. Nice. And you also get a ticket to a live event, which either the Bahamas tournament or I think with Cyprus this year, Bahamas next year. And so yeah, a lot of fun stuff playing on Party Poker. The games are, I mean, the games are reggy, of course, but the games are reggy everywhere these days, I think. And so I think, I don't know much about GG. I've never played on GG personally, but Stars is obviously absolutely fine. I've played on Stars a lot back in the day. And if I couldn't play on Party, I'd play on Stars for sure. What am I doing? I don't know why. Sometimes I get tanked, like something like, I don't know if anyone else has this, but they have these moments where they're just sort of looking at a hand like, I've completely lost track of what am I doing? Where am I? Who am I? What is life? We didn't update the buy, did we? When you're like, is this a fold? And it's like, it's the most obvious fold ever, and you're like, do I fold this to min raise? I can't remember, you know. There are challenges with every poker site, and I think it's a much tougher time to, I mean, to some extent, it's a much tougher time to get into the poker market, to chase that kind of easy dollar is a lot tougher these days than it was, say, 10 years ago. But it still is available, and there are still guys that have progressed rapidly up. I think surrounding yourself with the right people is very important, in my opinion, to help that. So I don't know anybody that's managed to get sustained poker success on their own. I just don't think it's possible. I tried really hard to be just a solo successful guy, and it was just a waste of time. Like I just was so much more efficient working with a team, maybe working with 651 others in the team 651 or something. subtle. No, it's not. But yeah, I think there's still. I would say it's not. I wouldn't chase poker if it's money you're after. I think there are easier ways these days. If you're a early 20s or something, just out of uni or not sure what to do with your life, and you think, hey, maybe I'll play poker. That might be fun. If you really love poker, then by all means I encourage you to pursue it. Do it in a sensible way where it's not like all or nothing. But I would say if your goal of poker is, hey, I'd love to make some money and poker seems easy, then I would say that's probably the opposite, and it'd be better just to do any job. I'm going to check this one. I like checking this one in terms of all the extra backdoors that we have, so like we never have to fold a turn, and like all the additional outs. I think it's quite fun. Snap checks a turn. That feels kind of weak, but at the same time we don't really rep too much. I guess we'd have queens here. Just bet that. Snap check is like normally pretty polar. Like it's either a really obvious check call hand, 3x or something, or it's a really obvious fold hand. So right now I'm putting him on a 3, a hand like maybe Jack 3. And so I will value bet this. Pretty thin, but we did see him make a bit of a hero call earlier when I went super small. So I'm going to go small again. And hope he calls with Jack 3. Nah, I get a fold. Interesting. Maybe he does fold a 3, I'm not sure. Or check the 4-2. Or check the 4-2. Tripping balls and ayahuasca, mate. That's what all the cool kids do. I'll just stick to my Diet Coke, innit? We'll watch the documentary on ayahuasca, and I'll be honest, like, some interest, but there's also a lot of people that you'd just be like, don't really want to spend time with them. We're cool with the 4-2 off. Alright. Check. Should we block min? Block min? That would be an interesting block min, wouldn't it? Nah, it didn't work. Mr. Tom Big Shot gets a whole month off. La-dee-da. Well, la-dee-da. What an interesting racer. Feels like a bluff, but we can't do anything with this hand. I think I would shove a lot of 9-10, 9-7. Obviously anything beating an 8x. But I think with our hand we'll just let that go. We'll shove the King 10. See that, because the raise there, it feels to me at least, it doesn't feel very ace-x heavy. I might be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again, and that's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. Okay. I think we would range C bet this. Not much 5 at 6x in the, shouldn't be too much in the big blind defending range at this stack depth. Have been a min bet this. We can call a raise, of course, if it's small. Can't call it a check jam or anything, but we'll definitely call this. So, I mean, a jack of hearts, a queen, a king, all good enough to call off on, of course. 10's not really. He checks. We'll start with a check. 10-6, 10-5 in the range. Of course, 6-5 in the range too. 10x maybe in the range. 8's not great either. So 7-4, 7-9, 8-7, 8-4, etc, etc. So I think we have a pretty easy fold at this point. What would we call with here? Well, we could have aces. We could have a 10 ourselves. We could have pocket 10s. We could have pocket 8s. Possibly, to be honest. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if that would make for a good call. But from a theory point of view, at least. Whether it would be good in reality, I'm not so sure. But yeah. Wasn't sure why Antonio was there. Just why was Antonio listed next to the station category? Cheaper Cheap says, what are usually good VPIP and PFR stats for a high-stakes spin player? Difficult to say because three-handed averages will be different to heads up, for example, and the button, for example, if you're playing somewhere between 35 to 40% VPIP and PFR, to be honest, is probably pretty good. If you're playing heads up, small blinds, depends on the stack depth, but let's say we're, I don't know, 20x effective heads up, you'd probably, or maybe 18x or 20. 20 is probably about there. You're raising about half your hands, you're limping about half your hands, and your VPIP will be about 95-ish or something along those lines. We'll check here. I don't want to bet fold with a backdoor flush draw over and a gut shot, because lovely turn cards like this can come, where we get to realize all our equity for free. Do we want to try and deny equity? We do want to try and deny equity to some hands. But 300 Chef is obviously a player who will have some balance here, so I think we have a pretty comfortable just call. And hits. Nah, missed. Having said that, we don't have many worse hands here, if any worse hands here. So I think if it checks to us, we're pretty happy to shove. I expect this to bet mostly, and it does. So obviously easy fold. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like worse hands we'd have. We'd have King Jack there, for example. We could have Jack 8. We could have obviously 2 pairs still in our range as well. Which would all want a value bet if checked on the river. But yeah, we'll jam this now. Was the station? Yeah, now it makes sense. See, yeah, it's not quite as good though, and you got to explain it. I think that's the problem. Yeah, we'll jam the 10-8. Rounds at Queen 9, but I'm feeling confident, and that's drawing dead on the turn. So that's the confidence we need, I think. We'll take it.